With you guys today, DiJonai Carrington. After clotheslining Sophie Cunningham, running into the locker room, screaming, "That's white privilege!" Then tweeting 8/23, threatening Sophie Cunningham and the Indiana Fever, DiJonai Carrington now comes out and clarifies what she means when she says white privilege for the Indiana Fever.
So with 2 minutes left in the first quarter, DiJonai Carrington just slapped the dog shit out of Sophie Cunningham. Sophie pops up. She's obviously upset. DiJonai says, "Try me." And then look at Stephanie White. Look at her face. Look. She's mad as shit. Now, number one, this is obviously a flagrant 2. It just is. By the letter of the law, you got to call a flagrant 2. We all know these refs are not.
That girl needs to be thrown out the league. She's not even a good enough player to be bringing this type of drama. She needs to be thrown.
Welcome back to the Hoops Plus WNBA Today. I'm back with another exciting news update, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. So make sure you stay with me until the very end because I'll be breaking down the full story. Without wasting any time, let's jump right into it. DiJonai Carrington thought the internet needed a lesson after being ejected from a game. Not an apology, not an explanation, just 2 words posted straight from the locker room. White privilege. Days later, she's still defending that post, walking parts of it back, offering new explanations, and arguing with almost anyone willing to challenge her interpretation of events. What started as a controversial ejection has now turned into a full-blown public relations mess. And to be honest, it may be one of the strangest reactions we've seen from a WNBA player all season. If you're enjoying this content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 90% of viewers still haven't subscribed. It's completely free, only takes a second, and it helps the channel more than you know. So, have you subscribed yet? If you have, thank you so much for the support. Now let's get back to the story.
Sophie Cunningham, otherwise known as MAGA Barbie in the WNBA, is a superstar player. She's one of the most famous female athletes in the world because she stood up for women in women's sports, saying only biological women should be allowed to play in the WNBA. And for that, she is literally risking her life. Check this out. This is what happened to Sophie Cunningham last night when she was clotheslined by a filthy, dirty player for Chicago who has a name that I can't pronounce, or maybe I just refuse to do that. That's my right as an American. But this is a player that has attacked Caitlin Clark, gouged her eye out, that has now bloodied the face of Sophie Cunningham, and as soon as she did this, she tweeted white privilege, meaning she's declaring this is a race crime. Now, if a white woman was doing this to black women, it'd be the #1 story in the world, she'd be banned from the league forever. But somehow black women are allowed to get away with this against white women. And it's white women in the league who make themselves a target by simply standing up for traditional values and...
Sophie Cunningham has been one of the more vocal supporters of her Fever teammate Caitlin Clark throughout the season, going on record multiple times to say that neither the league nor the officials do enough to protect Clark from the physical treatment she faces every night. She has criticized specific plays, specific players, and even stated outright that some teams have talked in their own locker rooms about wanting to show Clark what the W really is. That kind of talk does not exactly make you popular around the league. Furthermore, Cunningham has never really hidden the fact that she knows it.
Goo! That's assault, brother. You can't do that. What the fuck? Is this just the default if you can't think? Or if you just like don't want to take accountability for your actions? Oh my god, this league, bro, this league. Bro, white privilege while you're wearing a bleach blonde dyed wig. I mean, the fuck? What is privileged about that? You Stone Cold Steve Austin clotheslined her ass. What about that is white privilege? The WNBA stays undefeated. It truly does.
This history is important because it helps explain why so many people saw this particular foul and immediately felt there was more going on than just a tough basketball play. Cunningham had already established herself as one of the players willing to speak out about how Clark is treated on the court. And now she was the one taking a forearm to the face that left her bleeding. Whether Carrington intended any of that subtext or not, the optics of the entire situation practically wrote themselves the moment the ejection happened.
beyond concerning at this point how far from the plot we have actually gotten. And when I say the plot, I mean the basketball. How far from the game of basketball we have spiraled. When we're talking about the WNBA, you know, we used to joke, it's like, oh, 0 days without drama in the WNBA. This league is living up to it at a rate and a level of concern that we haven't ever had with all the discussion.
Craziness going on in the WNBA. DiJonai Carrington tweeted out white privilege from the locker room of a game that she was playing in. Get this, she fouled Sophie Cunningham hard. Sophie Cunningham, obviously a white person, fouled her hard. Flagrant 2, gets ejected, goes to the locker room and tweets out white privilege in the middle of the game. Now here's the kicker to me. A flagrant 2 has to be contact that can lead to an injury that looks excessive. DiJonai, it was about as excessive as possible. If there was any evidence of there being white privilege, this was not it. What the hell do y'all...
Cunningham is not the only one who has noticed the tension. Earlier this year, when Clark was ranked only as the 9th best guard in a league-wide player poll, legendary broadcaster Dick Vitale weighed in. He called the result pure jealousy and predicted that players around the league would eventually realize just how much Clark has helped them financially. After the Carrington incident, that comment took on a different meaning because it became another example of a player closely associated with Clark and Cunningham taking real physical punishment. And instead of widespread sympathy from around the league, a former teammate openly celebrated it while a head coach offered a soft defense of the aggressor. Watching that pattern repeat itself makes it difficult not to wonder whether Vitale was right.
Face coming down trying to prevent the layup, but that is just a hard hit. That's definitely going to be upgraded, I think, to a flagrant 2, Ryan.
I think that is going to be a flagrant 2. There is
get what you fucking deserve.
And just getting her out of the
Lucky
way.
it wasn't a right hook.
Make no mistake about it. Carrington targeted Cunningham. She targeted her because of her political stances. She targeted Cunningham because of the praises that she keeps receiving. She targeted her with a dirty shot that had absolutely nothing to do with basketball. And then after getting ejected, she runs to the locker room to play the fucking victim card. Like she didn't try to just take off Cunningham's head in 4K. Like we all didn't just watch it happen. That is not competition. That is a grown woman swinging on someone who she disagrees with and then screaming racism when she gets held accountable for it. DiJonai Carrington needs to be held responsible, and I'm not.
What actually happened on the court is not very complicated once you watch the play. Sophie Cunningham was sprinting down the floor on a fast break, completely open and heading for what should have been an easy layup. DiJonai Carrington chased the play from behind and, rather than making a clean attempt at the ball, caught Cunningham across the face and neck with her forearm. Cunningham crashed hard to the floor. The basket still went in, but from that point forward, nobody was talking about the score. Officials immediately stopped play, reviewed the sequence at the monitor, and upgraded the foul to a flagrant 2, which under WNBA rules results in an automatic ejection. There was very little room for debate. Wind-up, impact, follow-through, a high risk of injury, and a player in a vulnerable position. Those are the factors officials consider when assessing a flagrant 2, and this play appeared to check every one of those boxes.
Cunningham came down on her leg. She could have been injured. So they said, yo, get out of here, dog. Get out of here. Then, I don't know if y'all were looking at her lips. She was talking about, try me. Try me. Yo, you already tried Sophie? You got all the samples of Sophie. You talking about try me. What are you talking about? This lady is unhinged right now, man. This is crazy work. And it makes you wonder. It's like, dog, you were the best player for the Sky at this moment. Look how she landed on the leg. Oh my goodness. Like, you were the best player for the Sky, and you decided to do this? You weren't even thinking about the game. You was thinking about some kind of revenge or something. Somebody sent you on a mission. You were on a mission, dog. I don't know what you had going on here, but DiJonai, this is unacceptable. Disrespectful, disgusting, and I'm glad they...
Cunningham sprang up immediately, and the anger was written all over her face. Before teammates and officials could separate them, she got right into Carrington's space. And it is important to point this out because it highlights how the league often handles reactions differently depending on who is reacting. In fact, the officiating crew chief said after the game that Cunningham was not penalized for her response because it was considered understandable given the severity of the contact she had just taken. So even the referees, in that moment, essentially acknowledged with their own words that what happened to her was serious enough to justify an emotional reaction.
So from the flagrant 2 on DiJonai Carrington against Sophie Cunningham, where she proceeded to go into the locker room and tweet white privilege after being thrown out of the game. I'm not going to comment on that situation, but I will say this. This is a flagrant 2. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, don't matter. This is a flagrant. I mean, she clotheslined her. What more do you want? So this looks very bad. It just shows that the WNBA is nowhere near where they need to be professionally, because again, this is a clothesline. It's a flagrant 2.